I would introduce myself in terms of what I view to be maybe absolute strengths. The story that I'm telling myself is that I'm curious, ambitious, hardworking, quite disciplined. And then the flip side of that is I have quite fleeting interests. I have quite an addictive personality in lots of ways. I am quite impulsive, but generally like quite a rational optimist and love to challenge people and ideas. Absolute strengths and weaknesses. Can you dissect almost what I've said about myself in terms of how are they maybe not absolute?
So I'll give you an example. So my business partners and I had lots of things in common. We got along really well. We had a shared sense of humor. We had a similar sense of fun, but we had very different strengths, which I didn't even know about. So I think of myself as quite persistent, for instance. I'm quite determined in terms of getting things done. My business partner, Chris, is absolutely off the charts at that. So, which I didn't realize. We were just, we were drinking buddies, And so when we started working together, I realized that relatively speaking, that's not a strength within this team. It would be in a different context. But if you want to get something done, give it to Chris. He will just run through walls until it's done, And I end up playing a different role, which I'd be more like the glue, which would bring people together and use, empathy to really understand what was motivating people, which was not something which I'd thought of as a strength at all. It just so happened that in our team, that came to the fore because that was my relative strength compared to the context we were in. So that was a discovery almost.
So yes, it's relative to almost who we're comparing ourselves to.
Yes, and the team you're with and the mission that you're on. And that can change. So I don't want to go back too much in the past, but when we started out as entrepreneurs, the year was 2000. The internet boom was in full swing. Money was cheap. There was a new startup, every day. It was a good times. And then when the internet bubble burst, then everything changed. And then it was a completely different challenge. It's not what we had signed up for. And that's the true test of character. Now what you're going to do when your ship is, burnt and sunk and you're in a life raft. That's quite a different context. And that's what I mean by things can change very quickly as well.